Hello, everyone. If you were a gamer in the early or mid 1980s, you might remember a game called Archon, which was released for several platforms, spelled Archon. And it was kind of a pretty big hit back in its day. And it had a sequel, which I think was made like a year after the first game was released. But something like 10 years after it was released, there was a remake made called Archon Ultra. Now, Archon Ultra, it's not a sequel. It's not it doesn't significantly change the gameplay. It's more like just a graphical update. It's an update of the game with nicer graphics and sound. Um, Archon Ultra is not very well remembered today, and I think there might be a few reasons for that. So let's go ahead and check out the reasons for that. This is not really a Let's Play, although I guess actually it'll probably end up being kind of a Let's Play, but I'm just going to show basically what Archon Ultra is like and some of its weaknesses. It's overall not a terrible game, but it has some weaknesses which I think kind of maybe kind of ruin it, and I'm going to show how to not exactly cheat, but how to cheese the game, how to kind of be cheap and win in a cheap way. So let's go ahead and run the game. It is a game from SSI, or I guess it was published by SSI, but it was developed by Freefall Associates. And by the way, Freefall Associates also contained a couple of other names, which some of you might recognize. We'll see that in just a second. So, yeah, so Archon is obviously somewhat inspired by chess. If you look at it, it looks kind of like chess. There is a light and a dark side, just like in chess, and both of them can be either played by by a human player or played by the computer. Cyborg is, I believe, Cyborg lets the humans move on the chessboard, but then combat is done by the computer, if I remember right. I'm actually not sure what, I don't remember exactly what Cyborg is. Yeah, so there's a combat. I mean, most of the game is actually combat. We'll see that in just a bit. So I'll play with the keyboard. And yeah, if you find that you're playing against somebody who's much better or much worse than you, you can give a handicap, like you can aid a person or you can hinder a person. That's to sort of give handicaps for people who are maybe not very good at the game, or playing against somebody who is significantly better or worse at the game than you are. So I'll go and leave these at normal. I'll go and play with the keyboard. I'll show how to cheese the game, playing both as the light and the dark side. They're somewhat different tactics because the pieces are different. So for the first round, I guess I'll go ahead and play as light side. I'll make the dark side the computer, and I will go ahead and start. So, first things first, the controls for this game, I think you can remap them actually, but the default controls are a little bit interesting. The light side uses ESDF, so not WASD, not WASD, as is common in first-person shooters today, but ESDF is what moves that thing around that I'm moving around now, and it also moves your character around when you're controlling character. So ESDF is the movement controls, and then you have a primary and secondary attack key. Primary attack key for the light side by default is the space bar, and secondary attack key is, interestingly enough, B. I do not know why it's B. Maybe it's B as in be really cool. I don't know. I don't know what B is supposed to stand for, but that's the secondary attack key for the light side. The dark side uses just the arrow keys, and then attack keys are insert and delete on the keyboard. So yeah, there you go. So I'm playing as the light side, and so you have various pieces. I'm not going to review all the pieces because this isn't really, it's not a guide of how to play. But basically, you can see it's superficially like chess in that, you've got a bunch of pawns here at the front, and then in the back you've got the royalty here that are kind of covered by kind of defended by the pawns. And you've got what sort of act like rooks and knights, a little bit, kind of, but not exactly. Let's see. Oh yeah, before I go on, I think also secondary fire key also opens the menu. Yeah, there you go. So I press B and that opens the menu. Funnily enough, it actually uses the keys for the current player's side. That means if I was playing as the dark side, I would have to press, I think, delete, because I think delete is the secondary attack key for the dark side. Playing as the light side, you press B to open the menu, and then you can look through the menus. So let's see, can I, oh, interesting. It says swap keys. Maybe swap keys means redefine the keys. I don't know, I'll leave it at the default. Oh yeah, and under About, if I press Spacebar, if I press the primary fire key to activate About, so this is version 1 by John Freeman and Ann Westfall. And yeah, the names Fred Ford and Paul Reiche III might be familiar to some of you. Those are the two guys probably best known for the Star Control games. And in fact, I do feel like the music in this game... Oh, it's interesting that auto-cleared. I didn't press anything, that window went away by itself. If you listen to the music in this game, I do feel like the music kind of evokes that of the Star Control of Star Control 2. Like it seems to have sort of similar sound. So people who made music for PC games back in these days, they tended to have their favorite sort of set of instrument sounds that they would use. And so they basically kind of, I guess they recycled some of the instrument sounds for this game. This game actually came out after Star Control 2. Star Control 2 came out, I believe, in 1992, if I'm not mistaken. And this game came out in 1994, if I am correct, which, you know, is obviously 2 years after Star Control 2. But yeah, so kind of the music kind of recalls the music of Star Control 2 a bit. And if you like this kind of music, there's also The Horde, which was another game made by Toys for Bob, which has similar music, uses kind of similar musical instrument sounds to Star Control 2 in this game. So check out The Horde if you like these musical sounds. And The Horde's actually not a bad game in its own way. It's a kind of cool game in its own way. It's not kind of an underrated, not very well-known DOS game, which I wish more people knew about. Anyway, okay, sorry, got a bit distracted there. Let's get back to this game. So, the way this game works is, you don't really have definite movement patterns like in chess. Like, you know, in chess there are pieces that can only move in a straight line, or they can only move diagonally or horizontally or whatever. In this game, you're pretty free. You can just move in whatever direction you want. And when pieces clash, there's always combat, so it's not like the moving piece always captures the non-moving piece. Instead, the two pieces always combat, and whoever wins the combat is the victor, obviously, and the other piece dies. So there's a lot less strategy, actually, and a lot more focus on just combat, because board game strategy doesn't really get you anywhere. You need to win the combat. If you don't win the combat, you'll always lose, regardless of your board game strategy. So, the thing is, how to cheese the game is actually really easy if you're playing against the computer. If you're the light side, just use the Phoenix as much as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and move the Phoenix, let's see, where can I move the Phoenix? I'm going to go ahead and move the Phoenix to a dark square. Yeah, you can see that the Phoenix has a maximum of 5 squares that it can move. Different pieces can move different amounts. I think these pawns, or they're called knights, but they're basically like pawns, they can move a maximum of 3 squares. You can move anywhere within a 3-square walking limit. But basically, the key to cheesing this game is just to use the Phoenix. And if you don't know why, I'll show you. I'll go ahead and fly onto a dark square. The reason I'm going to fly onto a dark square is because the enemy likes to attack me on dark squares. The enemy is very scared. So the way this game works, you see how some squares are light and some are dark? That actually affects your power. Light-colored or light-side pieces actually have more power on light-colored squares, and vice versa. So because I'm playing against the dark side, the computer will be very skittish about attacking me on light-colored squares. It will avoid light-colored squares, and it is very much affine to attacking me on dark-colored squares. I'm going to kind of try to lure it in and hope that it will attack me on this dark-colored square. I mean, I guess I could just move onto a light-colored square and have it attack me there, but... oh, is it actually... Okay, it's going to attack me with this thing. Okay, that is a Banshee. The Banshee is one of the few exceptions to... so the Banshee is tricky to deal with because it floats. So see that lava? The Banshee is just going to float over that lava without getting hurt. Most creatures in this game are ground-based, and they cannot walk over lava without taking significant damage, but the Banshee floats above the ground, and so it will not get hurt by lava. So what I'm going to... I actually already did it once, but I didn't comment on it. You might have seen it. But I'm going to press... what I'm going to do again, I'm going to press B, and when I press B, that's the secondary attack. The Phoenix launches a feather out of its butt. It's basically just like I'm pooping on the enemy here. I'm just like launching stuff out of my butt at it. And every time that feather touches it, it takes a small hit of damage. Now, the damage from the feather is quite slight. You can see it's like maybe half of one of those notches on the Banshee's life meter, so it really doesn't take much damage from the feathers. But this is how you cheese the game. This is how you cheese Archon Ultra at the light side. You just keep launching feathers, and sometimes the enemy will dodge feathers. Like you can see, this guy's kind of dodged that feather, so it's going to take a... But you can have up to 3 feathers on the screen at once, so it's okay. That feather will probably catch up with him eventually, and if not, that's... Well, if you never... I think you can have like maximum of 3 feathers on the screen at once. If he doesn't touch any of them, like if he really just keeps moving with you and dodging them, I guess maybe you can get kind of stuck, but usually you can just lure him into the feathers if you wait a while. So yeah, this is not how you're supposed to play the game. I'm going to press spacebar. Watch this. I'm going to press spacebar. Why did it not... Hold on. Why did it not work? There we go. That's how it's supposed to look. That's the primary attack of the Phoenix. So what you're supposed to do with the Phoenix is attack like that. But why would you do that? Because it obviously puts you into danger. And that Banshee has an area attack as well. If I get close to the Banshee, it has some kind of sound waves that will damage me. So the best thing to do is to just attack it from a distance. And that's basically it. That's basically how you cheese this game as the light side. Just make sure to use your Phoenix for everything. The Phoenix pretty much can't lose against anything if you play that way, because every character in the game is vulnerable to those feathers. And if you just stay out of stay out of harm's way and avoid getting hurt, then you can basically just attack that way forever. Now, how you're supposed to play the game, let me see, let me go ahead and, since I have the move here, I'll go ahead and move on to that light-colored square, where I'll have the advantage. So if you attack on a square that's your color, you have more life, and the enemy has less, and that's obviously a big advantage. So in contrast to the Banshees, which cannot shoot, it just has an area attack around itself, this Basilisk that I'm fighting against now has an actual shooting attack, so I do kind of have to be careful. It's unlikely to hit me, but it can if you're not careful. So one of the problems that this game has is the perspective. The 3D perspective makes it really difficult to hit anything. It's kind of hard to tell right now because I'm not using a character, or I'm not using a piece that can shoot in a linear way. This Phoenix doesn't have like a shooting attack, but that's one of the big problems with this game. It doesn't have like a viable it doesn't have good combat mechanics because the 3D perspective makes it really hard to hit anything. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and attack this spellcaster here. So each side is a spellcaster. This is ours down here, and the enemy's is that one up there, or the Dark One's is that one up there. So I'm going to go ahead and attack the spellcaster because if you take out the spellcaster, then they can't cast any more spells. The spellcaster has some powerful spells like Resurrect, for example. They can resurrect fallen pieces, which gets kind of annoying. It gets kind of annoying when you've killed a piece and it just gets resurrected. I think all those spells can only be cast once, as far as I can tell, per game. So they can only resurrect a piece once, but I'd rather just not let them resurrect anything. Now, because that character was standing in one of those squares with that kind of flower shape, I don't know if you'd call it a flower shape, but like that hexagon kind of shape, that thing with the red hexagon in the center and some other hexagons around it. We're playing on a field with a healing pad on it. So that thing where that spellcaster woman is hanging around, that is a healing field. If she steps onto it when it's glowing, like it will periodically kind of make a rippling animation, and if she like that, see? And if she steps on it while it's doing that, she will gain some health. The enemy really likes to camp on that, and again, I don't really know I don't know a good strategy to deal with that, because the problem is, the enemy will just keep camping there, just keep camping on that health recharge kind of thing, and it's pretty hard to drive them away from it. So she doesn't have very good, attack spells. I mean, her attack spells, yeah, she has spells like that, but you see how hard it is to hit something. That's the thing, like, it's fairly rare that the enemy will really hit you, And the inverse is true as well. It's fairly rare that you can actually hit them, because shooting in this game in this three-dimensional kind of way, and you can only shoot in, like, orthogonally or diagonally. You can't shoot in arbitrary directions. Like, you can't shoot directly at the enemy unless they're directly diagonal from you or directly above you or beside you, if you understand what I mean. Like, basically, you can shoot in 8 directions, but you can't shoot in 360 degrees of directionality, so it makes it really hard to aim. Oh, she hit that mushroom, which is where the mushroom became damaged. So yeah, I hate fighting on these kinds of fields because the enemy will just be really cheap and keep recharging their health constantly. So what you kind of... I mean, ideally you'd kind of lure her away from that thing, and so that she could... And also she may want to step... She may step into that lava, which is also obviously going to be a benefit to us, because that means she's going to take damage from the lava. But she doesn't really want to... Yeah, she's wandering around a lot, but... Yeah, this is basically how I play the game. I'm just spamming B every time I... So there's a delay between when you shoot the feather and when you can shoot the next one. That's that circle. See that yellow circle on the left? It just turned to a feather. So I press B now. Yeah, while I have that yellow circle, I can't shoot another feather. So... But yeah, this is basically how you cheese the game as the light side. This is how I play the game. I just hang around with the Phoenix and just keep shooting feathers. There we go, and she died. So that's it. She lost her spell casting ability, so she cannot cast any more spells. Oh, the shapeshifter. The dark side has a shapeshifter. The light side does not. The light side does not have a shapeshifter character, but the dark side has a shapeshifter, which means it is basically a one-on-one fight where the same piece type fights against itself. So this is Phoenix on Phoenix. So they basically have exactly the same abilities that we have. But it's actually still really easy to cheese the Phoenix in this case, because it doesn't really dodge your attacks that well. Like that. I just shot a feather right into its face. So you can just, like, fly around and it will follow you closely, as it's doing now. And it really does not learn. Like, the AI in this game is not very good. I'm pretty sure this is not how you're supposed to play the game. I'm pretty sure there's probably supposed to be a much larger strategy at work that you're supposed to use in the game, but this is really the strategy that works best. Like, honestly, you can see this works pretty well. It's just slow. It's just annoyingly slow because each feather does a relatively small amount of damage. But I don't really see how else you can do it because, yeah, if you get close enough to use your primary fire attack, then the enemy will just do the same, as you see. Like, he does it every time. Well, I say he, even though I guess it's not really gendered. But it basically does that, like, every time it gets close enough. Every time it thinks it gets close enough to attack me, it just does that. It just uses its primary attack. And so what are you supposed to do? You use the primary attack ones, they use the primary attack ones, and then that's it. You've basically hurt each other. You're at like an impasse. And actually, since we're attacking on a dark-colored square, they would take more damage than I do, probably. It's advantageous if you can to fight in a square that's your color, obviously, because then you have more energy and the enemy has less, but it's hard to do. It's hard to get the enemy onto one of those squares because they will tend to not want to fight on those squares. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is, let's see. I might as well go ahead and attack this basilisk here, since it's on a light-colored square. And that pretty much guarantees that the enemy's not going to attack me on this square. The enemy is really, really skittish about attacking you on your colored squares. Like, the AI is so nervous about attacking you on a square that's not its own color. So it will almost never attack you on a square that's not its color. Or on a square that's your color, I guess I could say. So yeah. So I'm almost like invincible here. That, because I'm on a light colored square, nothing's going to attack me here. That's just how the AI works. But let's go ahead and let's see what can we do here. I do want to go ahead and make some progress, even though the AI has lost like most of its important pieces already. I can attack this dragon. So the dragon is not nearly as cool as the Phoenix, because the dragon just has basic... It has two basic attacks, and they're both just linear attacks. So it has a fire-breathing attack like that, and it has also a smoke-breathing attack, which is that. There you go. So those are its 2 attacks, and that's it. And they just fly in a straight line, and they are not homing. So unlike the Phoenix's feathers, which basically just pursue the enemy forever until they hit the enemy, those are just like one-time attacks in a straight line. If they don't hit, then they don't hit, and that's it. It's a miss. So, so yeah, the dragon is also pretty easy to fight with the Phoenix. Like, the dragon's not really much of a match for the Phoenix. Assuming that you cheese the dragon with feathers from the Phoenix, as I am doing. And yeah, flying enemies don't get hurt by the lava. So for the dark side, what flying enemies do they have? They have the dragon, they have the banshee, and what else do they have? I think those are the... Are those the only characters they have that fly? In other words, the only characters that don't take damage from the lava? I think that might be. I can't think... I'll have to check the screen when we're back at the board. I can only think of those 2. Oh, that was very bad. It got me. It actually hurt me with that attack quite a lot. That was pretty bad. Fortunately, you can see that doesn't happen very often. It's also one of the reasons why it's good to avoid close quarters combat, because those kinds of attacks are much easier to make if you're... Those attacks almost never hit at long range, but at close range they can get pretty dangerous. But yeah, when you're doing this with the Phoenix, it's good to maintain your distance. Good to stay farther away, because otherwise, yeah, just one attack like that can really ruin your day. If you do lose the Phoenix, you can resurrect it, because your light side spellcaster also has a resurrect spell. But obviously it's better not to risk that. It's better to avoid that if you can. So yeah, only the Banshee and the Dragon can fly. All other characters take damage from lava, at least from the dark side. From the dark side, all other dark side characters take damage from lava. So let's go ahead and actually let's eliminate this. Actually, do I want to do that? Do I want to fight the Banshee, or do I want to? Actually, let's do this. So there are 2 ways that you can win this game. One way is to just kill all the enemy pieces. That's the long way around. Or you can capture all 5 of these squares with the pattern on them. That's the easier way to do it. So I'm going to just brazenly go on to these squares with the pattern and see if anybody wants to challenge me on any of them. It looks like not. The enemies, yeah, the dark sides, the computer's shifting their pieces around a bit, but there's not really any action happening here. So I'm going to go ahead and speed things along a little bit, because I don't really want to kill every single enemy piece. That would take a while. Okay, so I already have 4 of these designs with the 4 of these squares with the design on them, and the enemy's not going to want to take them because they're light now. So these squares, you can see some of these squares, these ones that are sort of in a slightly diagonal kind of pattern here, they cycle their colors. So right now they're sort of almost completely white. They're a little off-white, but they're light enough that the enemy's not going to want to attack me there. So, like I said, the quicker way to win the game may be to just take the squares with those 5 designs on them. So I have 4 of those 5 already, so I can take this one here. I should be able to take this goblin easily with the Phoenix. The goblin is normally no match for the Phoenix at all. The goblin is like a joke compared to the Phoenix, because the goblin can't even walk over lava. And if you want, you can usually lure the goblin into walking on lava. Yeah, like see, he walked on that lava bit and took some damage. Lava does quite a bit of damage, so you do want to avoid it. And the AI mostly avoids lava, but sometimes it's not very good about avoiding lava and will just like walk right into it, which is kind of a... Yeah, see, like now it's kind of stuck. It doesn't have the pathfinding ability to walk around that lava, so it's just going back and forth because it can't figure out how to get to me. Oh, it finally figured it out. But yeah, and this goblin isn't even going for the healing thing. Like this healing thing here, if it walked over that, it could heal some of its missing health or some of its lost health, but it's not even smart enough to do that. Okay, I think we just won. There we go. The game is ended. The light side wins. So yeah, that's how you cheese the game as the light side. Just cheese the feathers from your Phoenix, and that's it. They're basically unbeatable against the computer. You just need a lot of patience because it takes a while. It takes a while to do it. But yeah, that's how you do it. Okay, so that having been done, I will go ahead and switch to the dark side now. So I'll leave everything here as it is, except I'll say that the light side is now the computer. You can also have the computer play against itself if you want, but I'll go ahead and say that I am the dark side, the computer is the light side, and I'm actually... Either side can start, but I'm feeling so generous, I'll actually let the computer start. Let's go ahead and let the computer start this time and see what it comes up with. Okay, so it's moving that Valkyrie... Okay, so cheesing this game with the dark side might be even easier than cheesing it with the light side. With the light side, you use the Phoenix. With the dark side, you use the Banshee. The Banshee has a ridiculously cheap attack. I'll show you what it is. Oh. If that Phoenix takes me on... Oh boy. Okay, I'm not going to be able to show you yet because it does not work against flying enemies. So I'll show you what I was planning to do. If you press the secondary attack with the Banshee, it launches a skull like that. And skulls are basically... Once the skull hits the enemy, it's basically indestructible. But it does not work against flying enemies. So, I'll show you the Banshee's primary attack. It's that. See those sound waves? So I did a little bit of damage to that Phoenix, but okay, that didn't go very well. Yeah, like I said, the Banshee's secondary attack does not work against flying enemies. That means it will not work against the Phoenix. It does not work against the Genie. I think those are the only flying enemies, or flying pieces that the light side has. So you know what? I want to get rid of this Phoenix. I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the Shapeshifter. If you're the dark side, you want to use the Shapeshifter on the Phoenix, because that basically gives you a Phoenix. It lets you play as a Phoenix against the Phoenix. Same thing here, exact same thing as last time. They will kind of follow behind us in this way. Just press your secondary attack key to spam them with feathers. Playing as the dark side, your secondary attack key is the delete key on your keyboard. So just spam them with feathers, and you can easily take down their Phoenix. The Genie is a bit tougher. I may have to fight the Genie as well. If I do fight the Genie, I'll want to do that with a Shapeshifter as well. Fighting the Genie is kind of tricky. I would prefer to avoid that. The Genie's not super tough, but it doesn't have a straightforward, cheesable attack like the Phoenix does. The Phoenix is just so easy if you just get cheap with these feathers. The Genie doesn't really have a cheapo attack like this. So, oh, it actually hurt me. That attack from the Phoenix actually did hurt me slightly. I think I did lose a little bit of health from that. So yeah, you wanna, like I said, you wanna keep your distance. Not always an easy thing to do because the enemy will really try to get right up on top of you. It will really try to get like right in your face. So, do watch out for that. But otherwise, there we go. I got the Phoenix. All right. Okay. So what's the... Okay, the wizard's going to cast... Oh, it's summoning an elemental. It is... Okay, it's summoned a fire elemental. That's interesting. So I'm going to be fighting as a fire elemental against a fire elemental, huh? That's interesting. These elementals are kind of short-lived. That's the thing. They don't usually live very long. They, I usually find that it's best to just kind of keep your distance from them. And just let it kind of... Because you can see it's kind of... I think it's actually... Is it losing energy from being over water? Or is it... No, it's losing energy just from its attacks, I guess. Or is it just losing energy just from existing? I'm not sure. So you can see that the light side is slowly losing energy. I actually don't know how these elementals work. I don't have much experience with them. I usually don't... I don't encounter them too often. The computer really loves casting elemental spells. I personally don't find them that useful. But I think the best way to deal with them is just to kind of keep your distance, and it will basically burn itself out. Like it will basically tire itself out after a while if you just keep doing this. Just kind of avoid it. Don't get too close to it. And yeah, its attacks are kind of like, it's attacking in a way that's obviously completely ineffective. I don't even know what it thinks it's doing. Just kind of taking shelter behind this rock because it can burn trees as you saw, but it can't burn rocks. So I'm just kind of taking shelter behind this rock. And it will eventually just tucker itself out. It will eventually just burn itself out, and that will be it. That will be the end of that elemental. Yeah, I don't know how these elementals work. Like I said, I never use them. I never cast the elemental spell myself, but the computer loves to do it. The computer really loves to fight with elementals, so kind of lame, but alright, whatever. I'll just, like I said, yeah, I'll just let it tire itself out. Yeah, this is thrilling gameplay. This is really exciting, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. This whole elemental thing is kind of half-baked to me, and the way that the computer casts spells, like when you play against the computer, the way it uses its spells is really kind of weird. Casts like spells that are not very useful. I guess the summon elemental spell is supposed to be useful. I guess these elementals are supposed to be powerful, but they're not really. They're just kind of annoying. More just annoying than powerful or interesting. But yeah, that elemental is almost out of energy. I'm still just chilling out here behind the rock, just minding my own business. Just gonna wait till that elemental is no longer elemented. It's no longer elementary. Almost there. Yep, there we go. It just burned itself out. That was that. That was the elemental. All right. So, what do I want to do now? I do want to get my Banshee out, but I don't want to risk my Banshee because I only have one left. The Banshee is basically the key to cheesing this game as the dark side. And if you... let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm just thinking about what to do because I know it's kind of brazen just to go right up to the enemy like this, but it's highly unlikely that they're actually going to attack me because they really don't want to go on to squares that are not their color. So I can like brazenly go right up to this unicorn here and attack it. And okay. So unicorns have a pretty strong attack, but they don't have a good defense. So see, that skull that I shot at that unicorn, it's now stuck to the unicorn. So this is what you do. Like, those skulls actually attach themselves to the enemy, and they slow it down. The skulls slow it down so much that it's hard for it to move, and if it gets 3 skulls all at once... Oh, that's interesting. That's normally insta-death. That's interesting. Why didn't it die? Usually 3 skulls are insta-death. I'm surprised that it... That's interesting. Why didn't it die? I thought that enemies always die if they get 3 skulls. Maybe unicorns are an exception somehow? Because, yeah, in every other case that I've seen, 3 skulls are, like, instant... insta-kill. Oh, and that's annoying because I cannot shoot any more. I can't shoot any more skulls now because I already have 3 on that unicorn there. That's interesting. I guess I never fought unicorns with banshees before. Somehow I did not realize that this was a problem that they have. Okay, am I going to have to use my sound attack? Looks like I'm going to have to use the sound attack here. Yeah, those sound waves of the Banshee screaming, that's the Banshee's primary attack. I had to resort to using that, which is something I almost never do. There we go. I actually got it with my primary attack. That's a rare thing. That's something I rarely actually manage to do. Or have to do. But, okay. So, since we're here, wiping out the enemy's stuff, let's go ahead and take on some other things, like, let's go ahead and take on this Valkyrie here. Valkyrie should be pretty easy. The Valkyrie should go down with 3 skulls, no problem. So the Valkyrie has 2 different types of arrows that she shoots. I don't know if there's really a difference between them in terms, like... The arrows have slightly different colors, but I don't know if there's actually a functional difference between them. But basically... Yeah, just shoot 3 skulls at her. Oh, that's interesting. She also doesn't go down. I wonder if I was playing a different version of the game. I wonder if there's a different version of the game that somehow has that reworked, because... I seem to recall that hitting an enemy with 3 skulls always kills them instantly. Alright, I got her with the sound waves again. But once again, that's something that I rarely do. Rarely have to do that. That's interesting. Okay. Well, this is a new experience for me, because like I said, I mean, this is usually how I cheese the game as the dark side. I'll just get out my banshees and just hit everybody with 3 skulls. And that's it. But in this version of the game, it looks like hitting enemies with 3 skulls does not kill them instantly. Which is a problem, because that leaves me with no way to actually cheese these guys. I need that guy to swing at me. He's got a swing attack that he uses, and the problem is you can't really... Come on. There we go. Got him. Well, that's interesting. I wonder... Okay, I'm going to assume then that it doesn't work for this thing either. This, what is it, a golem? Or I actually forget what this is called. Golem or something like that. Oh, and it actually killed me. Yeah, that's bad. I have no banshees left. Okay, well, this is unexpected. I actually, was not expecting to have this much trouble. Because like I said, usually I just use the banshees and that's it. That's how I cheese with the dark side. Okay, I don't have a way to cheese this game anymore. I will need to fight fair and square. So the genie's up here. That thing that flew up here is the genie. So I'm going to go ahead and fight the genie with my shapeshifter so that I have, so it's genie on genie. And the way that the genies work is, yeah, they just their only attack is this ball that they throw. The secondary attack is not actually an attack. It's just something that makes the genies small. It makes them really small and difficult to hit. But oh, crud! That actually hit me. I actually got hurt by that. All right, two can play this game. Let's cheap out with this health thing here, since I keep getting hit by that. That's really annoying. I usually don't. Usually I can avoid getting hit by it, but I guess I'm kind of flustered now. Yeah, it actually killed my shapeshifter. Alright. I don't have a good strategy at this point, because I've lost my shapeshifter, which I usually use to fight the genie and the phoenix, and I lost my banshees, and the banshees don't seem to be as powerful as they normally are. So, what I have left isn't really gonna, is not gonna cut it against what the computer has. Alright, I guess I'll have to play fair and square. So, another way to cheese the game is the dark side, but let's go ahead and try, since I rarely use the dragon, in fact I never use the dragon, let's go ahead and try this. I'm really surprised that 3 skulls don't instantly kill the enemy piece. That has always been the case for me. So, since I'm playing legitimately, and this is how you're actually supposed to play the game, you can see how hard it is to hit anything in this kind of 3D perspective. So, the genie's balls actually have some homing ability. I don't know if you can see that. The genie can actually kind of steer his magic balls that he shoots after shooting them. The dragon does not. Yeah, and he killed my dragon too. Okay, I'm going to say then that if the Banshee's 3 skulls aren't an instant kill, then it's way easier, way easier to play this game as the light side than as the dark side. Because with the light side, you can always use the Phoenix. And even if you lose the Phoenix for whatever reason, you can just resurrect it. So, yeah, I'm probably going to lose. I'm not even going to bother playing anymore because I'm pretty sure that I'll lose. With what I have now, against what the enemy still has left, what the light side still has left, I'm pretty sure that I would lose. So I'm just going to go and say that I can't cheese this game as the dark side anymore, because for some reason 3 Banshee skulls are not an instant kill, as I am used to. So like I said, either that was a different version of the game, or maybe I had different settings. Could it be that I was playing with the other side hindered? Because you saw at the beginning of the game you can either help or hinder one of the sides, so maybe I was always playing with the enemy hindered just to make things easier? Okay. In that case, I got nothing. So yeah, I failed at cheesing Archon Ultra as the dark side. But that was... you know what, I'm gonna try this. I'm actually gonna go ahead and say new game. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that the light side is hindered and the dark side is helped. I'm wondering if that might be... I'll go ahead and start as the dark side. I'm wondering if that might be... Was I actually so lame that I played with the handicap on to help myself further? Maybe that's why I'm used to 3 Banshee skulls killing something? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see whether that's really what it was. So I'm going to get my Banshees out. And... Oh, actually, these things are Valkyries. That's right. What I was fighting before was not a Valkyrie, but just a regular archer. That's right. These angels are Valkyries. These are not Valkyries, they're just archers. Okay, can I take on this Valkyrie now? Actually, oh, you know what? I think Valkyries might also fly. Are Valkyries also flying, or do they get impacted by skulls? Oh, no, they do. Okay, this one did get impacted by the skull. Okay, that's fine. So she is... So she's got a skull stuck on her. I'll put a second skull on her. Oh, yeah. Okay, so when you play with the enemy hindered, then they can get an insta-kill from Banshee skulls. Okay, that must be the reason why I always thought that... oh, wow, really? So this unicorn is attacking my basilisk, which I really don't care about because the basilisk is not a particularly powerful thing anyway. But you can see how hard it is to hit something like this. This is, I think, one of the main problems with the game, that just this shooting, like the shooting perspective in the combat portions is just so unwieldy. It is just so hard to do anything with this. Okay. So how do you cheese Archon Ultra? Play with your side helped and the other side hindered. I guess that's the answer to the question. I actually got the unicorn more as a matter of luck than anything else. Okay, there you go. That's how you cheese Archon Ultra. All right, since we've gotten this far, I might as well go ahead and finish. So I'll go ahead and take this unicorn with my Banshee. That's really lame. I didn't realize that I've always been playing with Hindered on. I guess just because I don't like losing games, so I kind of gave myself an artificial boost, and I didn't even realize. I don't even recall doing that. That's why I'm so surprised that these 3 skulls aren't an insta-kill, or weren't. I guess they should be now. Oh yeah, the unicorn can also jump. It actually jumped over that lava. But yeah, there you go. You see that three Banshee skulls were an insta-kill if you're helped and the enemy is hindered. Okay, that must be how I always played the game, for better or for worse. Alright, so I guess what I can do here is, since we're on a roll, I'll go ahead and kill this spellcaster. So this is the guy who casts spells for the... Oh, that actually hit me. Oh, wow. I'm surprised that hit me. I was not expecting that to hit me. And I'm surprised that I survived that. I'm surprised, 1, that hit me, and 2, that I survived. But there we go. Yeah, he goes down pretty easily if you are playing in this cheesy manner as I am. Okay, I don't think I have a chance against the genie. No hope. Banshee is not gonna hurt the genie, and these skulls do not hurt the genie as far as I know. Pretty sure the genie is a flying enemy and does not get hurt. Yeah, the skulls kind of, you can see the skulls kind of dance around the genie, which looks kind of funny, but they don't actually hurt it because the genie floats above the air and it does not get hurt by the skulls. So it's totally useless against the genie. The only hope that I might have against the genie is using my audio attack, but that is going to be very difficult to do because the genie is actually faster than I am too. Like his movement is faster, so whenever I try to catch up to him, he just runs away until his attack recharges, and then he's going to use his attack against me. Yeah, I don't really have a good way. Oh, he actually got hurt by that. Is that actually gonna... Wow, that actually killed the genie. I was not expecting that to work. Was not expecting that to work, but okay. Let's go ahead and take down these golems then, since they are also pretty... they're quite strong. They have a very strong attack, and their defense looks strong. He has a huge health bar, but he goes down with 1 skull. Which, again, might have more to do with the game settings that I'm playing on than with the intended functionality of the game. So yeah, this soldier has no hope against the Banshee. This guy is not going to present a challenge, I don't think, because he is vulnerable to those skulls. Yeah, he's got 2 skulls, and you can see he moves so much slower when he has the skulls on them. So this 3rd skull now should... Yeah, that did him in. Alright. Alright. Playing cheaply, but oh well. I guess we can round up the last of these, so we can take on this archer as well. So yeah, overall, this is a nice looking game. I like the graphics. It's a very good looking game. It's a good sounding game too. Like the music is quite nice. The sound effects are pretty snappy and cool. Is that Phoenix actually coming after me? It is. Okay, it's actually going to attack me with the Phoenix. All right. Yeah, this guy is not going to have a hope of winning against the Phoenix, pretty sure. Pretty sure I will not. Yeah. was not expecting to win against the Phoenix. Okay, alright, since this guy got the Phoenix out, let's go ahead and get our Shapeshifter down there, and we can take on the Phoenix with the Shapeshifter. Because, yeah, the Phoenix is one thing that you're probably not going to have much luck against with anything else. So let's just go ahead and cheese the Phoenix with another Phoenix. But yeah, as I was saying, this is actually, it's a great looking and sounding game. Like the graphics and the sound are really good, but gameplay wise, it just seems kind of limited. As I was saying, the whole board game strategy aspect is kind of useless. It's not like chess at all, because movement doesn't really matter that much. Because again, your victories, when two pieces clash, your victories are determined by this, by the combat portion, not by the actual board game strategy and movements. So it doesn't really matter that much where your pieces are. I mean, I guess it matters somewhat, but really, as a board game, it's not really very successful as a board game. Because whatever happens, no matter where your pieces are, the deciding factor in the end will always be this combat arena. And as a combat game, as you know, like a one-on-one arena combat kind of game, it seems cool at first, but just, you know, the way it's almost impossible to hit something. I mean, it's not impossible. You can see, like you saw, like I took on that unicorn with that basilisk, and it actually worked. I mean, you can do it sometimes, but it's just it just isn't. All right, so now I have everything that the enemy has left is ground-based stuff. They cannot fly above skulls, so it should be really easy with this Banshee. I should really easily be able to take on everything that's left with the Banshee. If for some reason I lose this Banshee, I can resurrect it. I have one resurrection spell, but hopefully that will not be necessary. So yeah, the combat portion is just not. It's just kind of repetitive. It's kind of frustrating because there's no real clear strategy. You just kind of move around and try to, try to fight everything. But the only real appeal in the fighting is the variety of the characters. It's kind of cool that you have, you know, different characters that have different attacks. But most of the attacks are not very useful. Most of the attacks are not very imaginative or useful. So it's kind of like, okay, yeah, cool idea, but you can't really do anything with it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and see if I can just quickly win the game with my with taking those 5 squares, because otherwise I'll have to kill the rest of the light side characters, which I think is going to get tedious at this point, because you've already seen all of them. You've already seen all the light side characters. So rather than, oh, it's that guy actually. That guy's actually attacking my Banshee. This guy is a brave fool. I mean, okay, I guess it's courageous of him to do so, but what does he think he's going to do? Granted, he could probably do a lot more if I wasn't playing with the light side hindered. It's kind of almost like I'm cheating a bit. Almost like playing with cheat codes on, because it does make things a lot easier. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and take this square, and that'll be it. I think that will be the victory of the dark side. Well, I'm a little disappointed, though. That means the dark side really doesn't have a very cheap character. I mean, in comparison to the Phoenix, which is like a really super cheap character. Like, you can be really, really cheap with the Phoenix, as you've seen. The dark side doesn't really have a very super cheap character to, or a character to be super cheap with if you want to be. So, I mean, I guess you're not supposed to be super cheap, but yeah, there we go. The dark side wins. I guess you're not supposed to be super cheap, but yeah, I like that victory picture. It's kind of like, you can draw your own conclusions. But anyway, so yeah, that's how the dark side wins. So yeah, that was Archon Ultra. And yeah, like I was saying, I guess you're not supposed to be super cheap. You're not supposed to be able to just really cheese the game, but you can. If you're playing as the light side, you can with the Phoenix. And I don't see a way to do so with the dark side unless you're playing as either. I don't know which one of these makes the Banshees skulls an insta-kill. I don't know if making the dark side helped or making the light side hindered does it, or maybe both in combination. And I don't care enough to experiment and try to find out which combination makes it happen, but you get the idea. Okay, I'm going to press escape to quit, and... oh. Actually, come on. It is playing the... it's actually playing the game. I actually want to quit the game. I'm pressing escape, but it's not going to let me... There's no escape! It's not letting me quit because the... Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and... hold on. If I start as myself and then press escape... There we go. Now it says press F9 to quit game. There we go. That was Archon Ultra. Nice game. It has some stuff going for it, but I feel like the gameplay is not very balanced. There is a significant imbalance in the two sides because since they have different pieces with different abilities, you can see there's... I don't think... I guess they're supposed to be evenly matched, but I don't think they are. I think the light side pieces are generally more powerful than the dark side pieces. And even if they were evenly matched, like even if both sides had exactly the same pieces, again, I think the combat just feels a bit repetitive to me, honestly. The combat is really very one-sided because each side only has like a couple of attacks, so it basically just amounts to dancing around and trying to shoot the other person while trying not to get too close to them. I mean, it's basically the combat's not very well balanced in my opinion, but yeah. Okay, this has been How to Cheese Archon Ultra. I guess I learned that I'm very cheap when I play these kinds of games. I play with the settings tipped in my favor just because I don't have the patience to play fairly. So yeah, take that as you will. I guess I don't know what that says about me. Probably doesn't say very good things about me personally, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. So yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. This has been How to Cheese Archon Ultra. Take care of yourselves. Hope it was at least interesting to watch, even if kind of lame. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, ta-ta. Bye-bye for now.